If you are blind, then your eyes shall be opened. If you seek the unknown, then you have found your place. If you desire knowledge, that is what you may find. If you yearn for the truth, all things shall be revealed. There is nothing for you here.
Hello, my fellow pontificating asshats. This is the first video attempting to dissect and decode all manner of socio-psychological mind control. In this first installment, I would like to take a stab at intersectionality and how it relates to psychological manipulation techniques used by the secret services, namely the CIA. At first glance, intersectionality seems to be nothing more than an attempt to resegregate individuals into ever smaller subgroups, seeking to establish a victim hierarchy. But if this is what you think, you would be wrong. It is also not a method by which different social experiences of oppression intersect with one another and thus must be defined separately from individual experiences as an X, but rather including YZ as is the standard definition. This is also incorrect. In order to find the roots of this mind rot, we have to look at monarch mind control, a method by which constant torture or distress is used to program an individual into compartmentalizing their mind to escape the suffering. In monarch mind control, this could be as simple as forcing a child to use a litter box and insisting to them they are a cat. Punishing them when they speak or walk upright, eventually the child will create a persona of a cat simply to avoid being punished. They'll act like a cat in every way. Similarly, in intersectionality, this is accomplished by insisting to an individual that they are irrelevant outside of their group, and that if they do not follow the group, they will face repercussions. A black female Republican, for example, would not be able to use her black or woman identities because she becomes an outlier by being Republican. The threat of social ostracization is exactly why you don't see many self-identifying black female Republicans. They have dissociated, even if they agree with Republican principles. Another example is a boy being told that he is violent, aggressive, oppressive, and if he's white, also racist. Eventually, the boy will come to disassociate his original identity as a male to become something he does not view as vile or corruptive. This is where we get the transtrender phenomenon. These are simply people who have been forced through socio-psychological programming to take on an identity they otherwise would not have. Likewise, we also see people who claim to be transracial for the same reasons. Those people who have been told to hate being white and have removed themselves from their whiteness by compartmentalizing their mind, avoiding the psychological trauma they would have to face because of what they were programmed to believe. Is it any wonder why they seem so crazy? When you are repeatedly told you are an evil, vile thing that should be destroyed, your mind will create a defensive wall against that part of yourself, protecting you from the truth that you've become afraid to hear. The mindset of victimhood is the key factor in tying intersectionality into CIA and Black Ops mind control programs of days since past. Without the torment of constant self-abasement, the control tactics and socio-psychological programming would be completely ineffective. If it were not considered a positive trait to be part of an oppressed minority and equally despised to be part of the oppressive majority, the entirety of intersectionality would fall apart at the seams. There is no person easier to manipulate than a person with no sense of self-worth. Dividing an individual from themselves and encouraging them to identify as a group, trans, gay, black, Hispanic, female, is not dissimilar to a religion reassigning personal agency to a deity. It separates the individual from any personal responsibility for their perceived guilt. In intersectionality, however, it is used to dissociate the individual onto the group, alleviating the individual of personal agency. Hashtag not all is one manifestation of this. Not all X is bad, so you can't say someone is bad for being X, even if the ideology of X literally dictates its members to defile and murder those who are not X. Not all people who are X will act on those mandates. This is dissociation and relinquishing responsibility onto the group while simultaneously admonishing any responsibility of those within the group. Dissociation is how social justice and intersectionality can hold multiple contradictory beliefs at the same time and take no personal responsibility for their actions. It's not a completely lost cause, however. There are ways of reconstituting an individual's mind that they might control it themselves rather than being led by the nose by someone else. A confident mind is difficult to control, difficult to manipulate. This is why intelligence, confidence, and general strength of character, particularly in males, is so important in reversing the process of ideological subversion that has been taking place for years. Only people with these particular traits are relatively immune to the programming methods of modern social psychology, reinforcing these traits and promoting individual agency, showing those who have lost themselves that they are the masters of their own destiny, will help them to realize that they are not their labels but truly something more. Building one's personal character renders one less subjective to outside control of their independent agency, and they will tend to position themselves directly opposed to such control schemes over time without fully understanding why. Their unconscious mind knows it is under attack and will begin warning the conscious mind to defend itself with logic and rationale, tearing apart the self-destructive enforcement of negative psychological programming. Social justice makes its participants victims of themselves. They torment their own minds relentlessly, constantly looking at themselves like they're some kind of vicious enemy to be destroyed and defeated, and then projecting that onto everyone else around them. The ideology of social justice, and including the intersectionality, it'll destroy your life. It'll destroy your loved ones. It'll separate you from your family. It seems nice to be able to dissociate onto a group, but all it does is destroy you as an individual. It can't be taken lightly, because the people perpetuating the ideas and funding the movement are part of the reason why this world's so fucked up. Bit of a ramble and a couple changes. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Tons of love. Blessed be.